We want to find length all the way out through the crown of the head. So you really feel your sit bones grounding down into your cushion or into your mat. Extending the spine, the crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. Shoulders relaxing down. And just let the mind settle on your breathing. Our breath is really the priority. We want to work with slowing down and deepening our inhalation, but also slowing down and lengthening our exhalations. So it's the exhales where the magic happens, where we find softness in the body, where we start letting go of tension. And also working with the exhales is what is going to help during those, throughout labor, throughout every stage of labor. So just start to slow your breath down. You might have started observing your natural breath, but now we want to slow down our breathing rhythm. Allowing the breath to flow in through the nose and then out gently through the lips. So almost as though you were just gently blowing a feather in front of you. So the breath makes a gentle sound. And exhaling out through pursed lips is going to help to slow that breath right down. And as you get into your breathing rhythm and connect into that breathing rhythm, think about lifting and lengthening as you inhale. Think about grounding and softening as you exhale. And then we just keep that slow, steady rhythm going. And start to scan through your body. Just using this time to turn the attention inwards. Start scanning through various parts of the body and just checking in with how everything feels this morning. If you're spending long hours sitting at home working during the day, you might be feeling it around the pelvis and the lower back. So we're going to work on really bringing movement into the spine, creating space in the body, and trying to release any areas of tension and tightness. But throughout all that movement, the priority is on our slow, steady breathing rhythm. Trusting that the body knows what it's doing. And instead just working with our breath to find ease in the body. We're just going to start a few rounds of breath and movement with the arms. So just start with the arms resting down at your sides. Really find length in the spine. Drawing baby back in towards your body so that your lower back is long and opening. And then take an inhale, raise the arms out and up, growing even taller as you do that, joining the hands together and exhaling the hands down through heart center. And then starting your next breath in, sending the arms out and up. Exhale. That slow, steady breath. And just keep that going. Breathing out. And really starting to move in your own time, your own rhythm. And establishing that mind body or brain body connection as you move. So it's not just going through the motions, it's really trying to tune into where that movement is coming from, what you're trying to achieve with it, and also that synchronization of the movement with your breath. So we don't change the breath to fit the movement, we slow the movement down or speed it up to fit our breath. Just do one more full round there. Inhale and exhale. Raising the arms up one more time. And this time as you breathe out, take the right hand down next to the side of your body. You might be kneeling, you can do this if you're kneeling, either way. Inhale that left arm up and then just take it into a gentle side stretch. So we're really aiming to stay level through the pelvis, so we don't want that left sit bone lifting up from the floor. See if you can keep it anchored down to your cushion or to your mat. Give yourself a full breath here. Inhale and exhale. And then lift that left arm back up. As you exhale, placing it down, reaching that right arm up, and then slowly taking it into your side stretch. This time grounding down through that right sit bone. And breathing into that right side of your body. Nice full breath. Inhale that arm up. Exhale it down. Go up and over. Do that right side again, opening the left side of the body. And we'll finish over to the left. Inhale, right arm lifting. Exhale, stretching it up overhead. And then bringing yourself back to center. And depending how you're sitting, you might already be in this position, but we're just going to change it around to sit with the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. So you can either do this by sitting on your bolster, or if you're getting any sciatic pain, then you'll want to sit on the floor using the bolster underneath the knees and just taking the legs out a little bit further away from you. So that variation just means that there's not as much pressure on the sciatic nerve. And then we're just holding on to our shins. And you can position the feet where it feels the most comfortable, holding on to the legs and then just lifting the chest. So you're trying to find that length in your spine. Taking a breath there. Inhaling to lift the chest, to let the shoulders drop down. And as you exhale, draw the chin towards the chest, start to round over. Inhale, lifting the chest. Maybe the chin tilts up. And then exhale, chin to chest, spreading the shoulder blades. We're trying not to dump into the lower back. Inhale and exhale. And then we're going to start to bring a little bit of movement in with the arms. So as you breathe in, we're floating that right arm forward and up, lengthening the spine, and then exhale, take the hand back down onto your leg. Inhale, left arm, reaching all the way up. Exhale, lower it down. And then just keep that going. Right arm, exhale, and left arm. And exhale to lower. Doing a couple more to each side. In your own time, the eyes closed down if you like. And just finishing to your left arm. Exhale, rounding over. And then as you breathe in, take both arms forward and up. Just requiring a little more lift in the upper body. As you exhale, round and lower down. Inhale. Lifting, opening the chest, exhaling to release. And final round, breathing in. Exhale. And then releasing from there. Use the hands to help the knees back in towards each other. Just sliding your cushion, anything out from underneath you. And let's make our way over onto the hands and the knees. So use your blanket. Give yourself a little bit of space at the front of your mat. So you want to pull your blanket towards the back of the mat. And then just taking the knees underneath the hips, keeping a flat back. And then we're going to start to walk that right hand forward. Left hand is going to come across the mat, or left forearm across the mat. Keep the elbow in line with your shoulder, and then lower your forehead down onto that arm. So your right arm is reaching all the way forward. The chest is just melting down towards the mat. And if you want even more, you can lift up onto the fingertips of that right hand. So this is our half puppy pose. We want to feel like baby is lifting back up in towards our spine. So there's no dipping, no arching into the lower back. And then nice deep breaths there. Inhaling, perhaps you feel that sense of lift. Exhaling, that sense of letting go, letting your body drop down into the mat. For a more relaxed variation, take that right forearm onto the floor. And if it's a little bit too high to have your head on the arm, take the forehead down onto the mat instead. And just hold on to your right arm with the left hand. So we're taking 3 more deep breaths here, opening the chest, creating space for the breath. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, just lifting the head just enough to change sides. So you're taking your left arm forward, your right arm across the mat, and then just sliding that left hand forward. Hips are staying over the knees so the hips haven't traveled forward. Releasing the forehead down, and maybe if you need a little more stretch in the chest, coming up onto the tips of the fingers. Thinking about lengthening your lower back, so we are avoiding that sense of collapsing the chest and belly down to the floor. So keep feeling like you're drawing baby towards your spine. This is a really nice optimal fetal positioning pose. Giving baby space and encouraging them into that head down, spine forward position. If you want to soften that left forearm and elbow down, you can. If you want to take your forehead to the mat, just take your right hand and hold on to that left arm. 2 more deep breaths on this side. And then at the end of your next exhale, just sliding the hands back underneath your shoulders, easing yourself up onto all fours, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone, and just stretching that space between your shoulder blades. So you can give yourself 2 deep breaths here. Rounding, just countering that heart opening position, drawing baby up into your body. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine, coming back to a flat back, tucking the toes underneath, and we'll move through some rolling cat-cows. So it just allows us a little bit more flow. So take a breath in, exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, start moving your hips back towards the heels, and then look forward, inhale, sweep the chest through and up. Exhale, round, hips back towards the heels. Looking forward, inhale, back to that neutral spine. And then just keep that movement going. And we're thinking about getting a little bit more movement in the upper back, getting the blood flowing, and of course, working on synchronizing the movement with our breath. So with the head down, all these forward leaning positions where the head is a bit closer to the floor, we want to be tuning into the sound of the breath. Inhale, exhale. Keep going, we've got a couple more rounds. And then as you exhale, coming into your kneeling pose. So toes are tucked underneath. We're going to start walking the hands back in towards the knees. If it is too much with the toes tucked under, feel free to come onto the tops of the feet or grab a cushion and just sit it underneath your sit bones. So the idea is to stretch out the soles of the feet, stretch out around the arches and the toes. So you can release this anytime you need to. And we'll be working a little bit more with the upper back. So bring the hands together. We're going to inhale to lift the arms up. And then as you exhale, bend the elbows into a stop sign position. So I'll show you just quickly, elbows in line with the shoulders. And we're drawing those elbows back, shoulder blades drawing towards each other. And then continue to drop the arms down, bring the hands back together. Inhale, raise the arms. Using the breath to find ease. Exhale, slow, steady arms through stop sign. Hands coming together. Inhale. Exhale. We've got one more round. Breathing in. This time, as you breathe out, placing the hands down onto the mat in front of you. Coming onto the tops of the feet and just gently releasing the toes. So maybe you just tap the tops of the feet down onto the floor. If you're using your bolster or your pillow, you can slide it out and just pop it towards the front of your mat. We might use it in a moment. So a couple of deep breaths there on hands and knees. Taking the knees a little bit wider than your hips. Come and face you for this one so you can see what we're doing with the upper body. And we're going to take an inhale, raise the right arm up. So I'll do your mirror image if you're facing me. Right arm lifting up. Inhale, reaching those fingertips high. As you exhale, thread the needle. So we thread that right arm underneath the left. Wrap it around. Just place the hand on your shoulder. Take a look over that shoulder. Inhale, reach the arm back up, lift the chest. And then exhale, wrap it around you. One more time, breathing in to lift and lengthen. Exhale, wrapping it around. And then just coming back to center. Adjusting the hands and knees if you need to before we change sides. So we're going to take that left arm up. Inhale, raise it up high. As you exhale, thread it through. Wrap it around, place the hand onto your shoulder, and you can gaze in that direction. Inhale, unravel, lift the arm up. Exhale, spiral in your upper spine, reach that arm around. And one more time, breathing in to lift. And exhale all the way back. And then releasing that left hand down onto the floor. Taking the knees back to hip width apart. And have the hands slightly in front of your shoulders. So it's a little bit softer on the wrists. We're going to take that right leg back behind us. Take the toes down. Stretch the left arm forward. So work a little bit with the stabilizing muscles in the body, glutes, shoulders, and deeper abdominals. So again, feel like you're drawing baby up in towards you. Baby in front ribs, drawing up. And then you might choose to keep the hand down and lift the leg. That's one option. You can keep both arm and leg down if you need to, or you might choose to lift the hand and the foot. We're taking a breath. And then exhaling, placing the hand and knee back down. Alternating sides, so we take right hand forward, left leg back. We've got option 1, option 2, connecting into the glutes, option 3, finding your balance. Exhale, coming back down. So the key here is really smoothing out the transitions. So you keep the rest of the body as still as possible while you move the arm and the leg. So that helps to switch on all those muscles that help stabilize the pelvis, help to stabilize the lower back, especially because you've got the extra weight of baby pulling on that delicate area of the spine. So really want to work drawing baby up into the body. And we'll just do a couple more to each side. If you're modifying, you're taking one of those more supported options, stick with those. And then once you finish the one that you're on, coming back onto the knees, dropping down onto the forearms. So we start with the elbows underneath the shoulders and then let the head release down. And then from there, you can start sliding your forearms a little bit further forward and coming into your full puppy pose, full Anahatasana. So forehead resting down onto the mat. Forearms are down to keep it a little more supported. So it's more about creating space in the chest and upper spine. We're taking one more round of breath. And then sliding the hands back underneath your shoulders. Come back up onto the hands and knees and then tuck the chin, tuck the chest, the tailbone. Chin to chest, tailbone tucked underneath, rounding and stretching into your upper back. Enjoying that cat stretch there for a moment and then coming back to your neutral spine. From here, we're going to send that right leg back up behind us again. So extend that leg out, point the toes, and then lift that leg just off the floor. So it's not quite at hip height. And then we're going to bend the knee out to the side, so out to the right side. Slowly step it forward, so connecting into those hip muscles as you bring that foot forward. So we're trying not to plonk the foot down, keep it a little more controlled. And just make sure that that right foot is still on your mat. So we don't want to go too wide with it. We're working on opening the pelvis here, but we don't want to sink too much into the connective tissue around the pelvis. So if you have your pillow or something you want to place underneath the hands for a little bit of height, you're welcome to use something. And again, we're not collapsing the pelvis down. So very easy here to let gravity take over and to overstretch. So all the connective tissue in the body, all the ligaments are a lot more lax during pregnancy. So we actually want to stabilize and pull back from our full stretch. So pressing down through your right big toe and pulling your hips away from that maximum stretch or that maximum lunge. Hands are there for support. And then we're just going to start a little bit of movement. So we're inhaling to lift the chest. Exhaling to lift your right toes away from the floor and keeping that front knee bent, but lengthening and opening into the hamstrings. And then inhaling to come forward into your lunge without collapsing. Exhaling to take the hips back and feel the heel drawing in towards that back leg. So I'll just get rid of my cushion so you can see this front leg isn't moving, but I'm feeling like I'm dragging that heel back to stretch out the back of the leg. And then just keep that moving. So it doesn't have to be in time with your breath. It could actually be a little quicker than that. This is a movement you can use during active labor to help open up the pelvis. So during those early stages. Nice rocking motion, nice and rhythmic. Keep your breath slow and steady. And then coming back into your lunge, placing right forearm onto your side, and then stretch that left arm forward up to the sky so we start to spiral the upper spine, and then reach that arm all the way back. Drop it down, start to reach it forward again, let the chest open as the fingertips lift up to the sky, and then reach it back. And just one more time there, breathing in, and then starting to breathe out. Taking that hand back down onto the floor, placing right hand down and stepping that right leg back. So we're on hands and knees. And we'll just take a little bit of movement here to break up the stretch before we do the left side. So we are going to do a little movement with the hips. So we're going to take the hips over to the left and at the same time look over the left shoulder. So you are shortening the left side of the waist, opening the right side of the waist. And then come back to center, move your hips to the right, look over your right shoulder. And then coming back to the left, and then to the right. And just keep that going. Again, we want everything to feel quite rhythmic. We get into the flow. So these aren't long, complicated sequences to remember. Instead, they're movements that can feel natural to the body. So trusting that the body knows what it is doing as you move. And therefore, your focus can be on drawing in those lovely deep breaths. Slow, steady exhales. And then coming back to center. Taking the hand slightly in front of your shoulders. Extending your left leg back this time. Start with the toes on the floor. And then use the back of the leg to lift it up away from the mat. And then we're going to bend that knee out to the left side. Try and keep it high. And step that foot around to the outside of the left hand. Again, you're welcome to use your cushion or something in underneath the hands. Coming into your lunge again without collapsing. So, you know, your maximum might be a lot deeper. Your usual maximum might be a lot deeper into that lunge, but just draw the hips back and hold it from a place that engages your muscles. So you're actually supporting your joints rather than hanging out into them. So we've got a couple of breaths here. Trying to lift the chest. And then your next exhale, the hips start to draw back. Those left toes come away from the floor. And it feels like this front heel is dragging back. And that will give us a little more stretch into the hamstrings. Protect your knee by keeping that bend in the knee joint. Hips go back. chest goes forward, so the spine stays long. And then we're coming back into our lunge. Hips drop. We press into that left big toe joint, chest lifts. And then take it back again. Breathing in to come forward. Breathing out to take it back. And just giving yourself a couple more breaths moving there. Exhaling. And then coming back into your lunge, placing that left elbow onto your thigh, reaching the right arm forward, pointing the fingertips up to the sky, and then all the way to the back of your mat. So chest is opening here. We're actually in a gentle spinal twist. And then exhale, release that top arm down. Reach it forward, and then up again. Exhale, windmill it down, forward, and up. Last time, lifting it up to the sky. Pointing it back behind you, and then releasing that right hand back to the floor, left hand back to the floor, and coming back onto the knees. You can slide your cushion off to the side there, and just place the knees back under the hips, hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes, and then walk the hands back to the knees. So this time we're not going to sit into this foot stretch. We're going to lift both knees up away from the mat at the same time, and then bring the hands to rest on the thighs. So weight going down through the feet and through the hands. We start rolling up. We're going to stop halfway. Inhale to lengthen the spine. So we're not coming into a back bend. We're not dipping into the lower back. We're just lengthening. And then we exhale and finish off our roll up to standing. So our head comes up last of all. And then we're going to stand with the feet about hip width apart. So I'll do this facing you. You can keep facing the way you are. Feet about hip width apart. Lift the toes. Spread them nice and wide. We're going to bend the knees with our hands on our hips and sit back into our chair pose, our Utkatasana. So we want the body weight going back into the heels. If the knees are coming forward and hiding your toes from your view, it means the body weight's into the balls of the feet. So shift the body weight back so you can see the toes, but also lift them up away from the floor. Taking a nice deep breath here. Feel like the knees are pressing out into something. And then reach the arms forward. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift up to a toe balance. And then exhale the arms down, sitting back into your chair pose. So the arms are coming back along the sides of the body. Back is lovely and long. There's no arching. There's no rounding. Inhale, reach the arms forward. Float up to the balls of the feet. Engage the glutes. Exhale, sit back into your chair pose. We've got 2 more here. Breathing in. Arms windmill out. Down as the heels drop. Knees bend. Our final time, breathing in. And breathing out. This time, bring the hands together at the heart and stand nice and tall. So in your mountain pose, closing the eyes, taking 3 deep breaths here. In through the nose, lift the chest. Out through the mouth. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Softness in the knees. Last round, breathing in. Breathing out, blinking the eyes open. Taking a step forward with your right foot and placing your back heel down onto the floor. So it's not a very wide stance. Again, we want to pull back. If you were practicing yoga before your pregnancy, then you may be used to wider stances with the standing poses, but bring yourself in a little narrower so you can use the various muscle groups in the body to help stabilize your joints. There'll be a lot more mobility now that the ligaments are a lot more lax. So we're lining up the front here with the instep of the back foot, and those back toes are just slightly turned inwards. We're going to bring the hands to the hips, lift the chest, and just start to squeeze the glutes a little bit. Arms are going to float up to shoulder height, standing triangle. You can take your gaze over those right fingertips, turn that right palm up, take a reverse. Left hand down the back leg, right arm up. So stretching, opening, and creating space in the right side of your body. And then keep that space there as you bring the arms back through shoulder height. Start sending the hips back in space, squeezing this butt cheek, and then taking the hand down just below your knee. So we don't want to be pushing down on that kneecap. Have the hand a little bit lower. Either top arm reaching up or the hand to your hip if that makes you feel a little bit dizzy. So stay very strong in your legs. We really want to engage those big muscle groups in the legs to help protect our spine and pelvis. So top arm down or top arm lifting up. We've got arms straight, legs straight, and both sides of the waist lengthening, which is why we took our reverse triangle first. To come out, we're going to bend our front knee and lift back up. Coming into our warrior two, you might just want to heel toe your back foot slightly further back. So while we want warrior two to be a wider stance, we're still not going full length. We're not using the length of our mat. We're pulling back a little bit and just bending that front knee so the knee's directly over your ankle, and you can gaze over your right fingertips. Taking a breath there, and we'll add the arms in. Flipping the palms up to the ceiling, take an inhale, raise the arms up overhead, join the palms together, exhale, bend that front knee, open back out, warrior two. Inhale, lift and reach. Exhale, open back out, warrior two. Last time there, breathing in, breathing out. Turn that front palm up, reverse your warrior this time. So again, there's not much movement in the torso. It's more just the reach of that top arm helping to open the side of the body. It's not a back bend, it's a side stretch. And then release. Take the hands back to the hips, straighten both legs, and then turn to the other side of your mat. So your left toes, so this becomes the front of your mat now, left toes are facing forward, right toes turning slightly in, and we've narrowed our stance again for our triangle pose. And we're starting with the arms up at shoulder height, flipping that top palm and taking an exhale to reverse our triangle. So that left arm reaching up and over, squeezing in and contracting the glutes. And then as you exhale, taking the arms back to the sides, reaching left fingertips forward, and then coming into your triangle pose. So again, that hand is just down below the knee. Some of you might be going a little bit further. Reaching that top arm up. Nice deep breaths there. Top arm might be resting onto the hip. Just depends on whether that having the arm up over the head makes you feel a bit dizzy or not. And then to come up, we're going to bend that front knee. Move back through our warrior two. Again, just heel toe that back foot back one step. It is a slightly wider stance, but we don't want to go too wide. We want the sense of wrapping the glutes around to help stabilize and open the front of the pelvis. Nice deep breaths here in your warrior two. Your gaze can be just beyond the left fingertips. And we're going to flip that top, both hands up, flip both palms. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, open back out into your warrior two. Breathing in, raising the arms up. Breathing out, opening out warrior two. We've got one more round. Inhale. Exhale. Take that right hand down the back leg. Flip your left palm up. Reverse your warrior this time. Again, creating space down the side of the body, not back bending. Lower back is long. And then exhale, release. Straightening both legs and just heel toe your feet all the way back in together, giving the glutes a little bit of a squeeze. And coming to the back of your mat. So standing with the feet hip width apart, and we'll make our way back down onto the mat. So to do that, we want to drop the tailbone down towards the floor, draw baby in towards the body, standing tall, hands onto the fronts of your thighs, and as you exhale, drop the head. Let the shoulders round forward, bend your knees, and then start sliding the hands down the legs. Pause there, take an inhale, find a flat back. So it feels like we're sending the chest forward, but we're not dipping into the lower spine. And then as you exhale, we continue that roll down. Fingertips finding the floor. And we're going to walk the hands back out in front. So if you want the blanket back underneath your knees, you can pop it there. Some of you might want to come into your downward facing dog. So if you do, feet hip width, hands shoulder width apart. Otherwise, take the knees straight down onto the floor. Coming into your puppy pose is an option as well. Or if you're still fairly early on and you'd like to come into your child's pose, if that gives you enough room for baby, sliding the hands forward, letting the head come down. So wherever you're choosing to rest, puppy pose, child's pose, or you might be in downward dog for a couple of breaths and then join us in one of these other options. We're just slowing the breathing back down. Inhale through the nose. Slow, steady through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Take one more breath. And then let's all release. We'll meet back sitting with the hips on the mat and the legs out in front of us. So you can bring yourself down. You might decide to use a blanket. You might be happy sitting on the floor. If you're using your blanket, just sit towards the front edge of it. Give yourself a little bit of height, lifting the pelvis and helping it tilt forward. And then we're taking our legs out in front of us. So your feet might just be a little bit wider than your mat. Again, you might be capable of going super wide with the legs. Just draw in a little bit so we can work a little bit more on strengthening and stabilizing. So we're sitting nice and tall, flexing the feet, and we're just going to interlace the hands in front of us. Close the eyes for a moment. Lengthen out through the crown of the head. And really feel how your back muscles start to engage. And the muscles, the deeper abdominals, that very deepest layer, is gently drawing in as well to help create this almost corset around your spine to help keep you sitting tall. And then we're going to open the eyes, rotate through your spine towards your right leg, and take an inhale, reaching the arms forward. You can let your knees bend as you come forward if it feels like there's not much room or not much movement happening. Stir those hands over to the left leg and then come back up to sitting tall. Inhale. Exhale. And you can really take this slowly. And it's always quite nice to close down the eyes. So, there's been lots of talk about isolation bubbles. So the bubble I'm referring to isn't that bubble. But it's nice to be able to create your own bubble, your own space. So getting familiar with the sound of your breath. Trusting that your body knows what movements it wants to make. It knows where it can go. And instead just experiencing that moment, being completely present. I'm going to finish this last circle and then change direction. So we go the other way. Inhale. Exhale. Reaching forward, stirring around, coming back. Again, we've got a couple more in this direction. And then once you finish, it's coming back up, sitting nice and tall. If you're comfortable sitting with the legs out in front, you can just bring the hands to the thighs and relax the feet. If you are more comfortable, better off crossing the legs, then just make any little changes you need to get comfortable. And then close the eyes. Tuning into the rhythm of your breath. Slowing down the exhalations. Finding a moment of stillness there to wind down the more physical aspect of our yoga practice and instead engage with that internal process of focusing on the breath, of becoming present. And then from here, we'll set up for our final relaxation for our Shavasana. So we'll be using maybe 1 or 2 blankets or a cushion underneath the head. So you want it high enough so that when you're lying on your side, your neck feels supported and your neck stays in line with the spine. So if the blanket is too flat or too low, the head's going to feel like it's hanging a little bit. So use enough support so that the way you have your head positioned now, neck lined up perfectly with the spine, you keep that as you move on to the side of the body. So pillow for underneath the head. A bolster or another cushion for between the knees. So we lie on the left side of the body to take the pressure off the nerve that nourishes the baby, sends oxygen to baby. So really left-sided lying is encouraged from about 29, 30 weeks onwards, but it's a really good habit to get into, just getting used to lying and rolling over to the left side of the body. So using your pillow between the knees to keep your hips level, to take the pressure off the lower back, and then coming down to rest your head on your pillow. So again, like my blanket's a little bit too low for my head, so I'm going to fold it over again, and then I can feel that my neck is really well supported. And you might reach the arms out and just stack one palm on top of the other. You might have that top arm resting at the side of your body, or you might reach that top arm up and over. So it's really about finding what position is comfortable for you to be in for your relaxation. And then all you need to do is close your eyes. Find stillness here. And tune into the flow of your breath. Allowing the whole body to relax down. Finding softness in your face, around the eyes, around the jaw and the tongue. Maybe resting one hand on baby, feeling that warmth beneath the palm of the hand. And just enjoying that calmer energy of your relaxation. Experiencing that relaxation as a sensation in the body. We can become familiar with that sensation, can tap into it and come back to it anytime we feel a bit overwhelmed with emotion or experience. Coming back to that feeling of ease, balance, feeling grounded. So just allowing your whole body to relax down into the ground. Inhaling, exhaling to soften. With each out breath, we feel the body melting down into the ground through all of those connecting points our body has with the surfaces beneath us. Whole body completely relaxed. And that softness, that relaxation reflected in our beautiful, calm breath. Giving yourself one last deep breath in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth. And then letting the awareness trickle back up to the surface. Taking time to move the hands and the feet. Rolling out the wrists, the ankles. And just moving your cushion or whatever you have between the knees out to the side. And then reach your top arm up overhead for a moment to stretch out that right side of your body. And then from your side, just easing yourself up to any comfortable seat. Whether that's kneeling, legs crossed, or sitting with the legs out in front of you. Bringing both hands to Yoni Mudra. So thumbs touching, index fingers touching, making a triangle just over the lower belly. Hands on your baby's home, that lovely, calm, safe environment you've created. Taking 2 breaths here. And then keeping the right hand on baby, bringing the left hand onto your own heart space. 2 breaths there, connecting the 2 heart centers. And then taking your hands into Anjali Mudra, prayer mudra. So this gesture of gratitude to yourself for making time to step on your mat this morning. Gesture of gratitude for your amazing body. And we'll take one last deep breath here. Exhaling, head down to the heart to seal your practice. Namaste. Thank you so much, ladies. Lovely to have you all this morning.